Hey, what's up, guys? High Noon Gaming here, and welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a long while, but I'm here. I'm back. I'm ready to bring you guys content as I go on throughout life. And this is a tough one for me. I'm really speechless, and I'm really at a loss for words. I don't. I'm still processing the emotions of it all. And based on the footage, you already know what I'm talking about. And that's Spider-Man and the whole Sony and Disney situation with him leaving the MCU. And I'm just here to drop my thoughts and opinions on the situation because this is what's hot right now. Everyone's talking about this, and Disney just had the D23 event going on this week. So I had to gather up some information for myself and make sure I have all the current facts into play. But this is the beginning of the Spider-Man PS4 game for you, if you are wondering, and all my friends who do not have this game yet. This is the game, the intro or the prologue to the game. So for all those who don't have the game, here you go. Pretty much just gave you a demo right here. It's the whole first half of the whole first level of the game. So I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay as I talk about this situation because man, this sucks. I hate this situation, man. I don't know what was going on with Disney and Sony with this Spider-Man deal. Not only do you make Spider-Man and Peter Parker the new face of the MCU, so they say, they also want to make him the new Tony Stark, and that was shown clearly through Spider-Man Homecoming and in Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Homecoming literally had Tony Stark in the movie trying to pass down the mantle, more of a teacher or mentor role, as Peter was learning, the ropes of how to be Spider-Man and a potential Avenger. Once Avengers Infinity War and Endgame happened, we all know that Spider-Man had to answer the call and step up. And spoiler alert for all those who have not seen Avengers Endgame, but Tony Stark does die in the movie at the end. And that was kind of a passing of the torch almost for Peter, because now he lost his mentor and his only father-like figure that could show him the ropes and teach him the game of this whole crime fighting superhero Avengers world. And that was shown a whole lot in Far From Home when Peter felt that he couldn't step up to the plate. He felt like, I'm just a kid. I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I do not have what it takes to step up and become the next Tony Stark, because everyone who saw him was saying, hey, are you going to be the new Iron Man now? And he's like, dealing with that peer pressure. And he even, well, I'm not going to get too deep into it because then I might spoil the new movie for you. And I don't want to do that. So just go check out Spider-Man Far From Home and you will know what I'm talking about. But back to the matter at hand. Just dealing with this whole situation with Sony and Disney, just, oh my God. It just ripped the heart right out of my chest. I saw the news about Spider-Man leaving the MCU, and I was like, what? What? No way. That makes zero sense. Why would they get rid of Spider-Man when they literally just made him the new face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I don't get it. I really do not get it. So I thought this was a hoax or fake. I was not sure what was going on at the time or what was going on in Disney and Sony's head. Like, dude, are you serious? Look what you just did with Endgame. with Infinity War, with Far From Home. Y'all literally, it's gonna, taking out Spider-Man is going to wreck the MCU when it comes to the canonical continuity of the storyline of Phase 4 and beyond. Because it's just, he was spearheaded pretty much to take a future leading role in shaping the potential MCU post Avengers Endgame and post Thanos. But now that he's gone, it's like, where do we go from here? It's just like when Endgame ended and we weren't quite sure of what was Phase 4 gonna be or lead up to. I know we still had Spider-Man Far From Home, but that was the ending chapter of Phase 3. So that was like, where do we go from here? And now they're going to have to pretty much go back to the drawing board, because with Spider-Man being gone, a lot of things will have to change. And the main reason why, for all those who are wondering of why this happened, was because Disney and all their love and glory of Marvel Studios wanted to take 50% of all profits made off the Spider-Man license and his earnings from the movies from Sony, because Spider-Man still belongs to Sony, and that's all through legal contracting and all that mess. Spider-Man still belongs to Sony, but they had a partnership with Disney to use his character. But now that Disney wanted to take 50%, Sony was like, oh no, I cannot go with that. Taking 50%, Disney? Really? They make billions of dollars. Billions. And they cash cow every single Marvel movie that comes out. They did not need to pull 50% out of Spider-Man. But Spider-Man is a very important character, and he's very popular amongst children and other people. And he's a main face of Marvel. They just couldn't help themselves. Especially after the purchase of 20th Century Fox with the acquisition of the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. I know Disney was feeling a little, how would you say, untouchable at this current state. They said, hey, we're Disney. What are they going to do? But Sony just wasn't having it, because I thought it was Sony's fault. I was pointing the finger at Sony, blaming Sony. Like, what are you doing? We have a good thing going here. Why would you get rid of Spider-Man or pull him away or terminate the current contract? Like, come on, we had something good going. We had Spider-Man taking charge. We just had Far From Home, which I can't even talk about that without spoilers. But, that was just really gonna take Phase 4 and beyond. It was just gonna toss it right off the cliff or toss it right out the window because of what happened in that movie. But the fact that he's gonna be gone, it's like every reference that they've done in regards to Spider-Man will no longer take a. I don't even know how that's gonna happen. Like with Happy Hogan, with Aunt May, I know they're legally still obligated to make 2 more Spider-Man solo movies with Tom Holland. But I'm not quite sure if that's going to be MCU related or Sony, will Sony have their own spin on it? Because now they like, I feel like Disney, well, not Disney in particular, but Sony was like, hey, thanks for showing us how to make a solo Spider-Man movie. We've been screwing it up for years now. They've been messing up since Spider-Man 3. So now they're like, oh, thanks. You showed us how to make a good Spider-Man movie. Now let me take them back. But it's just Sony couldn't get with that whole taking the 50% stakes of the profit. So they decided to pull him, and I'm not quite sure what's gonna come of Tom Holland in the Spider-Man role. I'm hoping he stays as Spider-Man because it would really suck if they do another reboot and have to go back to the beginning and have a whole new actor play as Spider-Man. Because I like Tom Holland. He's perfect. I like the high school aspect. I hope they continue to use Tom Holland and push Peter Parker's story onto adulthood so we can see a fully grown, seasoned Spider-Man, almost like in the animated movie Into the Spider-Verse, how adult Peter was the teacher showing Miles Morales how to be Spider-Man. Like, I want to see that in live action in the MCU. I want to see an older, seasoned, experienced Spider-Man take charge and potentially lead the Avengers into battle one day, almost like how Captain America did or Iron Man. But I don't know, man. The way everything is going right now, it's just, it's questionable because who's the face of the MCU right now? Thor? No. Captain Marvel? Come on. She didn't even outsell Black Panther. So, and there's no way that, Black Panther's gonna be the new leader. He's great and all. I love him. But him being the face, I don't know. So this is gonna be very clouded when it comes to the future, like the next Avengers movie or the next Spider-Man movie, because let's be real here. There's going to be another Spider-Man movie. When will there be another Spider-Man movie? I'm not sure because there's not one slated for Phase 4. And there's not an Avengers movie slated for Phase 4. So it might be a while before we get to see Tom Holland in the suit again. But with Sony acquiring the full rights to Spider-Man again, we might just see him in the sequel to Venom. I don't know how that's gonna work out because Venom was kind of its own storyline and it didn't follow the MCU verse. But if they decide to bring Venom into the MCU but be his own independent story, that might work. But there also might be some continuity errors due to the whole vibe and the way Venom was ran as a movie in regards to Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the last two movies of his solo films. But other than that, I just don't know what to say about the situation because I'm still learning as the days go on. So I know D23 just happened and they just announced a whole string line of films and TV shows that's coming out, and none of them are Spider-Man related. So I understand Spider-Man's been in he's been in Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame. Okay, so 5 films. He's been in 5 films now, and I believe Tom Holland was contracted to do 7 Spider-Man films. So he has at least one more, even though I heard he has 2 more that he's obligated to do under Disney and Marvel Studios. But because he's not officially a part of the MCU anymore, I feel like Marvel Studios can still make a Spider-Man movie, but it might not cross over with the other previous stories that were tied into the Spider-Man movies previously. So we might not see Nick Fury or Shield or Happy or Maria Hill or anybody else who's tied to the Avengers. Like we're not going to see Bucky or Falcon make a cameo in a movie because they are tied to Disney in the MCU. So what they might do is just keep Peter secluded or just have him stay in New York City for the sequel or or any other film that he's contracted to do, and just have him go against an original villain that does not have ties to the MCU, because Mysterio has ties to the MCU now. And that's just based on how he was written in the movie. You know, he has ties to Nick Fury and Shield and Tony Stark. So they can't use Mysterio again. They can't use Vulture again because he's tied to the MCU. I'm not sure what they can do, but I hope they bring maybe the Green Goblin or bring Venom into the MCU like I said before, but they're going to have to do something to keep his story more centered around just Spider-Man. And hopefully they realize they can't run the whole be the next Tony Stark thing anymore. They will have to already have Spider-Man seasoned and experience or possess enough knowledge to be like, I can hold my own, I can run New York City, in order to avoid any references or crossovers with other characters. Because at this point, I have no idea. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board with this character. They're going to have to figure out a whole new storyline or a whole new way to integrate Spider-Man into the larger picture. And it's just sad because, you know, we just lost Stan Lee, and Spider-Man was Stan Lee's favorite hero, and it was kind of his doing of having Spider-Man into the bigger picture with all the other heroes in the MCU. But now that all this has happened, you know, Spider-Man's kind of like, you know, a bastard child or, you know, an orphan child because he belongs to nothing now. He's just doing his thing. So I don't know what to do or what to think about the situation, but I just hope Spider-Man and Disney and Sony figure it out, because I really do not want to see this go down the tubes and suck. That's all I'm saying. Because we've been through Spider-Man 3. We've been through The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and the 1. I do not want to go back to the dark days of terrible Spider-Man movies or mediocre Spider-Man movies. I want to go back or stay at the current level that Spider-Man movies are in. And that's all I have to say about the situation, guys. See you around.